There's something wrong with you folks. But my money's on you guys. I'm thinking my family was really screwed up. Thank you.
Do you have copies of your book for sale here, or do we go to a store to get them?
You know, actually, we have a little handout that has some of those questions that we asked for you to reflect on, and on the back side is our contact information, and we do have a few books, but you can, but the information on here is that you can order it from the publisher, or you can see us, and we'll be happy to sell you one too. Okay?
It wasn't our intention to sell
we're not trying.
books.
We're not here to sell books.
You want to tell them, though, where your proceeds go for your book, or
Oh,
you're getting rich
yes.
off of them, right?
Oh,
Yes.
no.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's also in the book.
Yeah, well, basically what it says is all proceeds from the sale of this book will be donated by the author to the National Center on Sexual Exploitation. Learn more about them at their website, endsexualexploitation.org. That's the charity that Mary
It's very close to my heart.
supports primarily because of her background, her childhood background.
So, yeah. Yes, sir.
Would sharing an experience similar to yours be helpful? I've done mine many times. I was involved in Parents Al-Anon, been through the steps. There is a godly thing that happens and turns life around.
Absolutely.
There is, yeah. All my life, my mother would sit, there were 6 kids, and my mother sat at the head of the table. My father was at the foot. Isn't that weird? And she would say something, and then she'd look down the table, and she'd go like, now Mary, I'm swearing you to secrecy. She did not know how to pronounce my name, even though she gave it to me. My middle name is Inez. Now, if anybody anything about Inez, my understanding is it's a Spanish background, and it's very, very uplifting. But my mother would say, now Mary Agnes, she'd run it all together like Billy Bob, John Boy, and I hated it. It just made my skin crawl every time she said it. She'd look down the table and she said, now Mary, this does not leave this house. And I'd go, what are you looking at me for? Because she knew that I would go out and I would tell the lamppost. And my mother was so afraid that the neighbors would find out what was going on in our house that she was scared. She really was. And she was not a happy camper. And consequently, she wasn't fun to hang out with either.
Well, and the one thing that we have discovered is that, you know, when you are real, when you share your troubles and, you know,
Your broken places.
your broken places, that's where God strengthens you, really, more than anything else,
Yeah.
you know. So if you have something to share, that's fine, you know.
Yeah.
If there was something you wanted to say about that?
Yeah. And I have to tell you, after I sent the book off and and it was published, I was going like, oh my God, what have I done? But they're all gone now. I'm the matriarch, so I can say what I want to say.
I've done this before, so it doesn't embarrass me. I hope it doesn't embarrass anyone that's here. My wife and I had a younger child who was involved in drugs. We ended up in a Parents Al-Anon program, a 12-step program. It affected our marriage to the point where we didn't know if we were going to make it or not. We had had an intervention, the son was gone, didn't know if he was alive or dead. One night I was giving talks at other Al-Anon programs. As I'm leaving the subdivision, a deer and a doe walk out across the street from me, and all of a sudden I had this hot feeling in my chest of family. Just seeing the deer and the doe, it struck me, family. Went, gave my lecture, came back home. My wife and I solved all of our problems. God was speaking to me, but not in the language that you had. Mine was a language of recognizing that family is the primary thing in our life. And whatever happens, we still have each other. Thank you.
Well,
Thank
God
you.
knows that I'm slower than you are. So he has to put it out there in big, bold letters. Thank you.
So we have some handouts here, if you like, that give you the information about the book and also about our contact information.
Was there someone
Oh,
else?
sure. Okay. Thank you.
On the back table, if anyone wants one, grab it on your way out. Does anyone else have comment or question? Dee? No, I wanted. Oh, okay. Yep.
You're welcome.